Thank you all for having me. I'm very excited to be here sharing this time with you. I know we've had a heavy morning and we've had so much information here all day long. That's been so much good conversation and so much wisdom and insights. And before we dive into a little bit more, I just want to take a moment to honor the humanity of everybody that's here today. You're not here because you don't have a personal story. Like if you're here either professionally or as a patient or a caregiver, you have a connection with transplant. And I just want to honor that. And that has brought you here today. And this is not abstract, this is real for all of us. And we're working towards something that affects all of our lives. And I don't take that lightly. So thank you for allowing me to share with you for this next little bit. So for those of you that don't know me, my name has been thrown around here a few times, but I'm Alicia. I am a 2-time liver transplant recipient and a community manager here at Transplant Life. I run our patient support groups and a lot of our support efforts that we do here. And I am known around these parts as the feelings person. So if you want to talk about feelings, I'm your girl. I got you. And in addition to all of that, I am also a registered yoga teacher and a somatic embodiment coach. And my job today is to take everything that we've been learning and everything that's been going on up here, and we're going to shift it back in through the body and present moment. So no pressure. It's all fun. So what is somatic embodiment? I'm going to break this down for you. Basically, it's just a really fancy way of saying that I work with the mind and the body and the nervous system. So this work is very present focused. We're not looking into the past. We're not looking forward. It is in this moment right now. What is your experience being in a body? And this work came in handy for me in my career as a professional patient. As I have navigated the transplant system, these are tools that I needed and tools that changed my life and how I navigated the healthcare system. So our body is constantly gathering feedback. We're taking in signals, we have sensation, and then we're interpreting it into story. So one of the most basic examples of this is don't touch the stove because it's hot. You touch the stove, you feel the heat in your hands, and that turns into the mental story of you're going to burn your hand if you touch the stove. So we are constantly doing that as we navigate the world. We're taking in sensation, and then we are making stories about that. But what happens when those stories don't necessarily line up with what is true, or we are reacting to something that might not really be there? This is where the work that I do comes in, and the nervous system piece comes into this whole thing. As we are navigating these high stress environments and these trauma states, we're responding, we're activating. It is all the way up here, which is great. And we need that to navigate the threat. But then once the threat is over, very rarely do we bring ourselves back down and regulate and continue on throughout our lives. So to illustrate this point a little bit more, I am going to tell you a story. So there's the story about a polar bear, and he is out in the world living his best little bear life, having a great day. And then these researchers came and they stumbled upon this polar bear, and they were going to do some tests on the bear. So they sedated him. And while the bear was under, they were doing things like looking at his teeth and looking at his paws. And it doesn't take a bear behavioral scientist to know that these are not things that a polar bear would let you do while they were awake and totally with it. So they put the bear through all these tests. Bear was totally fine. They reversed the anesthetic and the bear woke up. And one of the first things that the bear did once he woke up was he began to shake. The whole body of this bear began to shake. And then he moved on. He shook everything out, and then he continued on living his little bear life. And he didn't move on in a way where he was constantly looking for the next helicopter, or he was constantly waiting for the next time someone was going to come sedate him. He shook it out and he moved on. And so I tell you this story because what this bear did is something that humans don't often do. And this can be the difference between experiencing a trauma or experiencing a high stress event and being traumatized. What this bear did was he moved himself through the stress cycle. So he responded to this threat that had happened. All this activation energy came online. He was in this state, something out of normal of character was happening for this bear. This happened. He woke up. He shook it out. He took everything out of his body, moved it all out, and then he was able to continue on. And we as humans don't tend to do that. We get stuck in, I got to get back to work. I got to go take care of the kids. This is the next thing that goes. And we stay in that hyper alert stress energy. We were prepared to fight. We were prepared to run away. Our whole body came online to give us what we needed to do to navigate the situation. And then we don't do anything with it, and it stays in the body. And what happens when we have chronic activation that stays in the body? This is where we get chronic disease. This is where you're constantly operating, so stressed, so much is going on. That's not healthy long-term. That's not sustainable. So what do? We need to find a way to move all of this through the body. We need to find a way to come back to this regulatory state. And this is something that came in handy for me as I was navigating my transplant experience. I just woken up in the hospital. I'd had major surgery. It was loud. It was bright. There was so much happening all the time. Hospitals are not really known for being the most zen, wonderful, beautiful places where you really want to be. And I knew from my background that I needed to move all of this stress through my body. I needed to bring myself through the stress cycle. And then I needed to reestablish a sense of safety, not only so I could survive my whole transplant story, but so I could thrive on the other side of transplant. And so that's what I'm going to invite you into today is we're going to try on a little bit of this experiential moving the body, getting back into the present moment kind of state. So if you all are ready and want to join me in some experiential movement, I invite you to stand up out of your seats. And you're going to want your feet a little bit wider than hip distance apart, like really solidly feel into the ground that you are standing on. What is letting you know that you're standing? I know you're standing. You know you're standing. What sensations, what are you feeling that are going to let you know that you're standing? Can you feel your feet on the floor? Yes. Okay, perfect. From this place of feeling your feet on the ground, you have your strong base, you have your anchor, beginning to lengthen up through the spine. We live in a social media culture. We're constantly hunched over on the phone, on the computer, all these things, straightening up through the spine, bringing your fingertips, reaching them all the way up overhead, getting really tall, really long. You're going to wiggle your fingers, taking up your full length. And then bring your arms all the way down, stretch out to the sides, take up some room. I'm going to invite you into a little bit of a breathing practice. So we talked about the nervous system. The breath that I'm going to teach you is a parasympathetic breath. We think of the nervous system, we think of like the activation moving, and then we think of the rest and digest. That's your parasympathetic. So that's what we're doing. As you inhale, your arms are going to come back, head is going to drop back. On the exhale, rounding chin to chest, arms straight out in front. Inhale, opening up. Exhale, rounding chin to chest. Now, if you want to count, we open up for 3, 4. Exhale for 2, 3, 4. Awesome. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Keep it going. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. We'll do a couple more rounds together, following the own pace of your breath. If you've ever seen those little balls on social media that you're supposed to breathe with, that's exactly what you're doing. You're just mirroring the shape with your arms. We'll do one more. Inhale, opening it up wide. Exhale, coming to center, chin to chest. Okay, we're going to come back. Take your arms straight out to your sides, rolling through your shoulders. Take those arms back. Had a lot of sitting. We're getting into some movement. Take them the other way. We're going to keep those circles going. So I want you to imagine you have a hula hoop around your chest. We're just moving the chest now. So you can let your arms go, moving through the chest, circling it out all the way around.
Why does my brain not understand this movement?
Right? It's like when you're supposed to like pat your pat your head and rub your tummy or whatever. It's that. We're confusing your brain on purpose. Other way around, seeing how much you can keep it isolated in through the chest, upper back. Bring it all the way down, bringing that hula hoop down. You're circling it through your hips. Don't let your hula hoop fall.
I've already failed it.
Can you switch your hula hoop other direction? See, it's impossible to take yourself too seriously when you're like keeping your hula hoop up. Take it down one leg, circle your leg out. Circling your legs. One side and the other side.
I feel like we're doing like the Elvis Presley.
Right? Oh no, we're just getting started. Okay, coming back to standing, keeping your feet on the ground. We're going to bring in some movement through the spine, wiggle like a worm, shimmy like a snake. Get into your spine, get really loose. This is our version of a polar bear shake. And don't worry about looking stupid because no one's looking at you. They're looking at me. Okay, coming back to standing, feeling that foundation of your feet on the earth. We're going to do one more practice that I'm going to show you. You're going to need your two fingers. We're taking them on either side of your ear. So you have one finger in front, one finger in the back. And you're pulling down along your ear, along the jaw. Fingers on either side of the ear, pull down towards the jaw. And you can do this on one side, you can do this on both sides.
As long as we don't massage the carotids.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, potentially you could, maybe, but a lot of the nerves are closest to the surface of your skin in through your jaw and your neck. So we're relaxing those, allowing in a little bit more of that breath and that spaciousness. Whenever you are ready and feel good, you can let that go. What did we just do? We moved our whole body. We shook ourselves out and got through that little bit of a stress cycle. The three areas that we tend to hold the most tension in the body would be our chest, our hips, and our jaw. So we intentionally targeted all three of those areas to release some of the tension that we may have been holding. We calmed ourselves back down with the breath. And we found that movement, hopefully, that shifted you a little bit more into the present moment. So I hope that while we were here, you were able to be in this moment. You were able to really feel where you are, feel your body, not just as a concept, but as an actual human body that is sensing and feeling things. And this was able to shift you a little bit so you are ready for more integration and more learning as we finish out our afternoon. So you can all take your seats. Thank you so much for moving with me. I hope you had some fun. And we will continue on with our afternoon.